All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go and check out a video real quick. We have 6 overdoses in Indianapolis, Indiana today in a park. Uh, well, at least that's what they're calling it, with symptoms of overdose. But, with all that's going on in the world today, uh, you know, could it have been an overdose or something else? They're not sure if it was drug related, but 6 people that were in the park down there were rushed to a hospital with symptoms similar to overdose. Now, we got a problem with this fentanyl. It's everywhere, right? It's everywhere pretty much. And we're going to discuss a couple things here after we watch this video. Let's check this news channel out. That's a local channel here. And like I said, folks, we got a lot going on in America. So there could be numerous things up here.
9 News.
We're starting our news here at 5 with some breaking news. Police are on the scene of a possible mass overdose in Indianapolis, and it's our top story here. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bir Shaladme.
And I'm Leah Blackbird in for Dan. We want to take you out live now where Chief Chris Bailey is speaking on this right now.
Phil, Theron, we are just seconds away from...
we're still waiting for him to speak to the microphone as he is gathering there with several reporters within the area. But what we have learned so far, the fire department confirms 6 people went to the hospital here, and IMPD says they were experiencing symptoms that seem consistent with a drug overdose.
And that's something we've continued to follow here. Chief Bailey is supposed to be speaking to the media here any moment, but we'll tune in for that as soon as we hear him getting ready to speak.
Well, something to keep in mind here, we were just talking yesterday about some of the drug overdoses we have seen, especially in fentanyl, seeing a drop, but there has been a general concern about drug overdoses. So now let's listen into the chief as yet again we're dealing with something
in Presidential
like
Park, which is here at the corner of Washington and Alabama. What I can tell you is that there were 6 individuals here that were experiencing symptoms of some type of overdose or reaction to potentially narcotics. They were transported to area hospitals. All are currently in stable condition. One person has been released already. And what this started as, from what I'm being told preliminarily, is that behind you there's a camera. That's one of our trailer cameras. That feed goes back to our real-time crime center. Our analysts were watching this area, as this area is a hot spot for downtown Indianapolis when it comes to drug use and other particular crimes. They saw some people that appeared to be falling out or passed out in the area. Officers were dispatched, as well as other 911 calls came in. Medics arrived, treated some individuals here. There was at least some attempts to utilize Narcan. What we preliminarily believe that this is not a reaction that's going to be reversed by the use of Narcan. Probably a mixture of spice, which is a synthetic narcotic. Typically, that is then, I shouldn't say narcotic. I don't even believe it's illegal. But typically, there's some sort of spray that's introduced to the spice, usually some sort of roach spray or bug spray. And then when it's smoked, it causes some sort of reaction. Obviously, too much.
All right, and this is our problem in our country. Bug spray, which they lace the cannabis with. And a lot of people have been saying that the cannabis has been smelling like bug spray. Well, that explains it. It smells like raid. Now, who is doing this amongst our citizens? Now, some people are saying they're getting it from the stores, or whatever they call them, smoke shops. It could, if you're not running a legit cannabis store, yes, I would believe that it got passed through a cannabis store. If you don't have proper security, if you don't have proper lab people, and testing. No, you bet your butt it could have got through the cannabis store. And whether it was deliberate or not, we're not sure. But now they're talking about a spray that they're spraying on this stuff. If it ain't the fentanyl, it's this spray that they're using, a clear liquid that sprays over it, right? They let it air out, but you can't. From what I was told, and it makes sense because I've smelt it before. It smelled like Raid. So I would imagine this is a problem, right? And that dang fentanyl, you don't even have to do it. You just got to be around someone uh, that has been, and it's on them. And you can start feeling sick, depending on depending on your tolerance and what you're allergic to. Some people are not allergic to fentanyl, so it don't affect them that much. Certain people were drug users uh, and experienced uh, certain things, right? So it might not affect them as much, but certain people are allergic to it, and you will do exactly what they were explaining, uh, in which Hanta virus. I'm not going to lie to you folks. Uh, that is a big problem in America that they just are not. I don't know what it is, why they're not reporting it. Well, Gene Hackman, they're saying, might have just died from that. And that's similar effects to being around fentanyl or this drug that this Raid, it smells like bug spray or something. So they could be. Now, whether it's deliberate, I'm not sure. I don't know who told these people to smoke bug spray. It sounds more to me like they're trying to kill people than this is the new high. That's just crazy, right? I've never, and when I was younger, the cannabis and everything, you just didn't go. It was a totally different time back then. The worst thing you had to worry about with cannabis back when I was growing up was if somebody was uh, lacing it with PCP, right? When you flip out, you go crazy. Comes to find out the cannabis was laced with PCP, but that's usually within the biker community back then. The bikers would give their people PCP they used it as a truth serum. They would dose these dudes up with PCP and LSD, and they would question them as they were just tied up on a chair, and it was really crazy. And I do believe PCP is actually for animals or something like that. But this is a problem that we're seeing everywhere, outbreaks everywhere. Uh, could it be deliberate? That's my question. I got no beefs with cannabis if it's grown properly and maintained properly. It's a very good thing for people. But then you got these people that, whether they're just evil or complete nut jobs, that are doing stuff like this. Now, I did see the federal agency put out something about the cartels have created a new drug that they're putting in the cannabis to make it addictive, which cannabis is not addictive, right? You're not going to flip out if you wake up tomorrow and you don't have cannabis, right? You're not going to go crazy and like if you were on cocaine or crack or one of these other drugs. It's not an addictive. It could be addicting to somebody, right? But really, it's not. You don't have massive withdrawals from it or anything like that. It's not a drug that'll do massive withdrawal system, symptoms and all that. I mean, depending on how much you smoke, if you smoke 2-3 ounces, like some of these high rollers and rappers and people that got a lot of money, right? I think I was watching Snoop Dogg or something. He said he like smoked 2 ounces or 3 ounces, 4 ounces a day. How did they even have a brain? I don't know. I have no idea. And that's what we're also investigating is how come these people that have been in massive fights in the MMA, numerous blows to the head, are still alive and not in wheelchairs, right? I took one blow to my head massively, and I got problems, right? We're talking 35 years later, right? How are these guys doing it? How are these guys smoking 4 ounces of pot and able to even do anything? We're starting to get down to what's going on here. Is this something magical, mystery tour or whatever? But if it ain't the fentanyl, which these people around here don't understand, uh, you know, you don't even have to. All you have to do is be around it. If you're real allergic to it, you're going to have a reaction. You're going to have trouble breathing, and we're not sure. Is it this, or is it Honta? Right? Like I said, Gene Hackman just died from that shortness of breath. Right? You lose your breath or shortness of breath, dizzy. You have flu-like symptoms, numerous symptoms, almost like if you were around fentanyl. Now they threw in pills in the Gene Hackmans. There was pills all over the table or the counter. So automatically we thought that was fentanyl, right? There was a mix-up, or maybe the medication they were on was laced with fentanyl, and it happens all the time, folks. But now they're saying no fentanyl, no carbon monoxide, Honta disease, which would, yeah, that fits the description of Honta: shortness of breath, heart palpitations after a while after you had it. Some people kick it. It's weird. It depends on your body's immune system, right? Getting Honta disease at 95 years old, like Gene Hackman was. His wife was 60. You know, that's very dead. It could be very deadly. For someone younger, it probably don't affect them that much. They'll get sick or whatever. But what's really going on? These people were in the park. Were these homeless people? Did any of them test for Honta disease? And we need to check more into this cannabis that smells like Raid. Right? They're saying it's a bug spray. Right? That might be why it does smell like Raid, from what some of these people are saying. Right? Now, a lot of people are saying they caught a couple people and they said, well, they were doing it for a joke. Well, you don't joke like that in America. Spraying bug spray on someone's pot and think that's funny as they're rushed to the hospital. I mean, we got some very sick individuals. Now, whether they're doing this because they're just evil or being driven for the money, we're not sure. But like I said to the cannabis places, if you're not going to run a legit business and you're not going to have security badges there, and you're not going to have people testing the cannabis that comes into the store, and this happens, and they find out that it's someone from your cannabis store that's doing it deliberately, pulling the good dope and switching it out with this junk, you're going to have troubles. Right now, I know the federal government has already labeled you people cartels, terrorists. I was one for passing the law on cannabis because the simple fact is we're going to be having more deadlier drugs than that coming into the U.S. So I was a go on the cannabis, but not if you are not going to do it properly. And you got to check. If you're not checking the cannabis, if you're not a legit business person, that driver just pulled over and pulled out 5 pounds of perfectly good tested cannabis and replaced it with some junk that was sprayed with stuff. You got people getting sick. And like I said, everybody acts differently to different chemicals. Someone that it might kill, they might smoke the same thing and they'd be perfectly fine, right? Just seem different, act different. They might say something, but they get through it. So, like I said, who would be doing something like this? I don't know. Spraying shit on cannabis and everything and watching it. These are some sick people. Who's the stuff? Who came up with that idea? Well, let's get high. Let's spray some bug spray on our cannabis. It sounds like more. This was an intent to kill people, not for a new high. I mean, who would do something like that? Right? An idiot. Well, who told these people to spray bug spray on their cannabis or smoke it? You're going to get stoned. I guess the same people that told them kids to eat the Tide Pods, right? Probably them people, right? But what do I see in this? Well, it could be numerous things. It could be an outbreak. Honda, it could be numerous things. Our old friend CV, it could be what the police are saying right now is someone spraying bug spray and stuff on people's cannabis and selling it to them, or whether they're getting it from a store. We have no idea, right? Even if it is from a cannabis store. Well, this is what happens when you don't have proper security cameras and people there, real lab people testing the cannabis. Because the cannabis can be grown, tested where it's grown, and it's perfectly fine. You don't know what's going to happen to that cannabis from when it leaves the farm on the way to the distributor store. Anything can happen if you don't have cameras, even on the truck. Even on the truck, watching the drivers, watching the load. Then anything's possible, folks. Now I got to pull over here and take a piss for a minute. Right? And that's all it takes is a couple minutes. Right? Someone's there waiting at the gas station, boom, 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 boom. A couple pounds out, bring in the junk or whatever, and now the people getting sick. No, it might be so low grade of cannabis. It's so low grade. We're talking 7-8% THC that they're spraying it with this shit so people get some kind of a high. So they can say, oh, that was good pot, right? We don't know. We're really not sure. But I live in a state where they haven't passed it yet. I think they have the gummies or the hell, for all you know, everyone is smoking spice. Yeah. Even at the cannabis stores. How? The same way. Right? 4 or 5 pounds here. Take the good stuff and here replace it with something. We need something to replace it here. Contaminated stuff. And then you got people getting sick or whatever. And yeah, that makes sense. Hello, Miss Debbie Fox. So what do I think? Well, anybody doing that, it's deliberate. I don't know whose bright idea it was now to tell these people to spray their cannabis with bug spray or any kind of liquid source that Someone comes up and says, here, spray that. For all you know, it could be LSD. And that's probably what it is. With some of these people flipping out, spraying that shit. Oh, no, this is going to get you high. And why LSD is a liquid. Could be liquid LSD. Depending on what color it is, it could be DMT. So you got 6 people that are having symptoms of an overdose. I don't know. Start checking. Were they homeless people? Were they living outside by rats or mice? Check them for the Hanta. Run numerous tests and find out what was in it. And the cannabis, was it cannabis or was it fentanyl? Was it meth that laced with fentanyl? I mean, we just didn't have this problem when we were growing up and doing drugs. Why? Well, we were growing up in the time of some of the most best chemists and cocaine dealers, right? And very pure cocaine, ether base. Pablo had some of the best ingredients with an ether base. It was pure cocaine, and you weren't worried about it, right? Why? Well, because if you're putting out bad product and people dying, no one's going to come back. You're killing your own money source. It's bad business. You're killing your own money source. Right? You know, sales are down. Why? Well, probably because they're dying. And you're putting junk in it that shouldn't be. So does this shock me? No. No, they're pulling a bunch of product off of all these cannabis shelves right now. The cannabis vapes and smoking vapes. Someone came in and started testing it, and it showed heavy metals and chemicals in it, in this vaping stuff. A lot of people were getting sick, popcorn lung, and all kinds of stuff. And they tracked it, yada, yada, yada. There's a big article on it right now, and I think like 4 or 5 big videos on YouTube. They had to recall a bunch of it because it had a bunch of heavy metals and toxins in it. And this is what happened when things are not government or officially state ran, where you got guards on the outside of the building in case anything goes crazy. And then you got lab people on the inside testing everything that comes in through that door. Like I said, I am a voter of legalizing cannabis because we got other things to worry about. But doing it legit and professional, right? Professional. Professional. Because your hands, your customers' hands are in their lives or whatever, right? Or their lives are in your hands. So it's just like anything. It's just like any business. You're acceptable to the devil to come in and take over your business. Now, we've seen that too with some of these cannabis stores, guys coming in trying to muscle in, take over, right? And like I said, cannabis stores are acceptable to theft and sleight of hand. Everything is a racket in our country. And it's nothing, everything, folks. And we know if the government's a racket, then you got Trump and everyone and all these people, whether he's telling the truth or not. But if it's true and the government is a racket, then we're just wasting our time. because these are the people we trust, our heroes that are appointed by God or whatever. And if these people are corrupt and not doing their jobs and protecting us and putting in laws, hey, you want to smoke cannabis? Then you're going to smoke cannabis that's been tested by our labs and USDA grade cannabis. And this is 100% cannabis, certain percentage of cannabis in it. And it's 100% cannabis, no additives, no nothing, safe to smoke if you're above 21. And that's the way it's got to be. Why? Well, because we've seen these people do the same thing to races, whole races. Look what happened to the Indians, my Native American fellow brothers. Chickenpox disease and everything. If your government's corrupt, we're all going to die. These are the people we're supposed to protect. We put them in power to protect us from all business, no matter if it's legal or illegal. I don't know if cannabis is legal or illegal. It is in some states. The state, federally, I don't know. I wish it was passed federally and the federal government started selling it, taxing it, testing it. Legitimately, like I said, cannabis is our last worries, unless you got idiots like this spraying cannabis with bug spray and drugs other than just cannabis. We got problems. So it's got to be all up and up. I know Indiana's talking about passing it and opening up these cannabis stores. I said, heck yeah, I voted yes. But only, I wrote right on the ballot, baby, only if it's going to be done federally tested and professional. Professional. Or we're wasting our time. Any dick, Tom, or Harry can open up a cannabis store, and the next thing you know, they're pumping out crap. And you got an outbreak going on. Right? There's nothing I could do. Cartels, the government saying we're going after. We got people on YouTube saying these cartels, these cannabis people or whatever it is, or it's the cartel, whatever, and the government's afraid of them. It's just a madness. Right? Now, once again, like I said, I support cannabis use. But anything, just like anything, just like taking a pill when the doctor gives you a pill. If you overdo it, it's probably not good for you. If you're smoking this high potent crap, 50-60% cannabis or THC, you're probably overdoing it, right? I mean, I've been listening to some of these people. This is like 45%, 50% THC. You're smoking about 2-3 ounces of that a day. Your brain is about. How are you even functioning? How are these people even function? How can you even write a song when you're smoking 4 ounces a day of 40 to 50% THC or whatever it is? Are you kidding me? How the heck we're also looking into something. Maybe the devil takes care of his own, or whatever that old saying is. Let's continue to listen to this video.
Involved in whatever this mixture was. Yesterday, our officers in downtown district were in the same park, made an arrest for dealing narcotics. Unfortunately, our unhoused neighbors are particularly vulnerable to this kind of narcotics and this kind of dealing. It's cheap, and that's why we have seen it time and time again. This is not a new phenomenon. It's unfortunate at all that these occurred all at the same time in the same area. But many in our unhoused population experience similar types of reactions to this type of narcotics. That's why our detectives believe that's what we saw here today was street name. I think it may be Kimmy is what it's called. But obviously I could be wrong in that. So we've got our drug overdose task force has been out here. Our partners with the DEA have been out here. Indiana State Police detectives, of course, our downtown district officers and detectives are out here. We have lots of cameras in the area. Like I said, I told you our real-time crime center reported this first, and so we'll utilize that information we find from those cameras in order to try to track down the individual or individuals that may have dealt this narcotic and hold them accountable. But that's what I know right now. It doesn't appear that anyone's going to pass away from what occurred here today. But there's 5 of those individuals are still being monitored in local hospitals.
I didn't hear you. Did you say was fentanyl involved or believed to be involved?
No, I don't think that we believe fentanyl is involved at this point, but we don't have a narcotic to test. But based on the symptoms and the reactions to Narcan, it's not what our detectives believe, but that's still be part of the investigations we go along. Probably some mixture of a synthetic narcotic, usually spice, with some sort of bug spray or something else introduced to it that then people introduce into their bodies and it causes that. So we've got our drug overdose task force has been out here. Our partners.
Yeah, that's about it. I think they hit it on the 100% there of, yeah, and we'll know. We'll know. Keep an eye on them. 6 victims for skin rashes or outbreaks. Well, the poison's got to come out. They'll come out their skins. It'll come out their pores. They'll get scabs. They'll get small, tiny blisters. That's the poison coming out of them. If it's the bug spray, like they're saying, and that makes sense because people have been saying the cannabis smells like it's bug spray, but people are saying, "Oh no, that's just its high potency or whatever." No, I probably would suggest you folks, if you get any cannabis and it smells like Raid or of some kind of a stinky bug spray smell, I wouldn't smoke it. Right? I wouldn't smoke it if it smells like that. If it literally you're smelling it and it smells like bug spray or some kind of a chemical, I wouldn't be smoking that. But keep an eye on them people in the hospital because I'm telling you, if it is that stuff they're spraying, that explains why everyone's flipping out. That explains why these people are going and the professionals are going, well, cannabis don't do that. So something's going on here. Just regular cannabis wouldn't have that effect on you or wouldn't do that. And they're telling the truth. So someone's doing something. Now, I don't know if the federal government is telling the truth that the cartels came out with a new drug to spray the cannabis to make it addicting. I don't know. I have no idea. I hope not. I mean, this is pure evil, man. I mean, who in their right mind would tell these people to put bug spray or some chemical that kills things in their cannabis and smoke it, folks? Come on. This is a very evil scientist. This ain't no Breaking Bad shit. Where this guy's a professional chemist and he knows, if you put certain stuff in it, it could kill you. And I don't know, maybe they're killing people with it, right? We know the bikers were using the LSD and other things laced with cannabis and stuff, but that was being sold to their own people. These were bikers doing that to other bikers. But maybe they're selling the stuff on the street and it's moving. And once again, I got nothing against bikers. I like Harley Davidsons myself. Dang it. But we got a problem, folks. Listen, folks, go to a cannabis store we need stickers on these cannabis stores. We need the federal government to go in and test them. I mean, Mr. Trump, you want to get rid of federal government agencies or divisions. Well, you got 80 some thousand. Why don't we put them inside the cannabis sector and let these guys become lab people and test, right? Test the cannabis and watch the place, right? I know a lot of people now are complaining that the cannabis stores, it's like going to McDonald's. You see a photo of a beautiful hamburger, right? You're like, I want that. But when you get it, it's just a bunch of crap. And that's probably what they're saying. How come the photos and the photos look great, but this looks like crap? Maybe so. It all starts with the grower. If the grower is putting out quality cannabis and grown properly, no pesticides, no bug sprays, then somewhere from my farm to the cannabis store or to the street or whatever it is, someone's tampering with the merchandise. I don't know. That's just crazy, man. Spraying bug spray or some chemical on cannabis. I mean, I'm not shocked. Not when they're telling these kids to eat Tide Pods and put mouth or giant spoonfuls of cinnamon in their mouth. You could die that way. Literally, your windpipe. You can choke to death doing that. I don't know why they're telling these people to do this stuff. If this ain't the devil, I don't know what is, folks. I don't know what to tell you. There's no chemist that would tell you to spray bug spray on cannabis and smoke it. Because any real chemist would say if there's poison in it, you're not going to get high off of it. You might, but that's the poison killing you. Right? You're going to get high. You're going to see stars. You're going to see all kinds. That's you dying because there's poison in it. And not only that, you need inspectors for food. Who knows what we're eating, right? Well, we got 88,000 IRS agents that have nothing to do. Bring them into the cannabis sector and make sure it runs properly or something. They'll probably kill me for saying this. But listen, I'm for cannabis as long as it's done professionally. I'm also for tested vaccines. If it wasn't for me being vaccinated when I was a child, I probably would have been dead by now. Or in a wheelchair from polio or measles or whatever. That's my opinion. This is going on all over. This is an everyday occurrence in America. That people that haven't even done drugs are just around these certain chemicals, whether it be fentanyl or even Raid. I've seen people have reactions to bug spray. And if they're digesting it or smoking it, it's going to come out through their skin. And if it does, then you know it's this bug spray or poison. I just can't believe these people are nuts. Just nuts. And once again, to all you cannabis stores out there, I'm just saying, as a citizen, right? As a citizen, if they're going to legalize it, then you got to watch it like a hawk. And I mean, you got to have cameras everywhere, and you got to watch everything. And if that means hiring an escort to get the load from the farm to the cannabis store without being tampered with, as long as their product is tested when it comes through the door of that cannabis store and it's okayed, now we can track it. Now we can see who's tampering with it. Is it a disgruntled worker that is deliberately doing it? Is it a racket? You might have a crew from the street, one member working for you, and then what happened? Well, they create this whole thing. Steal 10, 20 pounds and replace it with some garbage that was never tested. Stuff probably bought out on the street. That's what we got to worry about. Is are some of these people switching it from stuff that's being bought on the street with good stuff that's been tested? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Who knows? I'm telling you, they're really hitting us, government, Pentagon, Congress, Senate. If it ain't witches, demons, gangs, clubs, secret societies, pedo rings, cults, church cults, doomsday cults, other countries, if it ain't that, now the American people have to worry about the one thing that probably relaxes them and makes them sleep and get some kind of a sleep and rest from the madness we live in. Now that's being tampered with. Some idiots telling people to spray it with bug spray. Good God, I smoke. I wonder if I've smoked any of this stuff. I wonder if I've smoked any of it in my past. Probably. If it ain't people trespassing on us, Pentagon, Congress, Senate, Sheriff's Department, police, if it ain't people trespassing on us and these people and this madness, where would we be? And like I said, if everything's corrupt, like they're all saying, then we're all going to die. And we're fighting a losing battle because when your government is corrupt, there's no one that can help you. Now I see, Lord, how these people were drove into complete madness and murders and doing evil. They couldn't say no. They couldn't say no because then they would have been beat down themselves because they weren't good enough to. You do whatever you got to do to survive, to feed your family. My God, the human race has been put, humanity has been put, the weight, the pressure it's just too much. And it explains our death rate. It explains our borders. It explains everything. It just explains everything. And I do believe Miss Debbie Fox was telling me population control. Yeah. Well, it's hell. We are in hell. It's only by the grace of God that we're alive. And we can at least do this, bear witness to the madness. And that's exactly what we do. Lord, I'm a witness to the evil and the madness on this earth. They can't even go to work anymore and come home and smoke a doobie because some idiot spraying them with junk or didn't do his job. Maybe he was paid $500 to let 10 pounds go through that were contaminated. Who knows? Hell, maybe it's a disgruntled government worker, Mr. Trump, that snuck into one of my stores and deliberately tried to sabotage it. Who knows? I can tell you this much. I am one that would vote yes for the federal government to legalize it and do what you did with alcohol and do what you did with cigarettes and everything else. And send in your government people and make sure it's tested. Hell, most of you congressmen and senators and military guys have all experienced cannabis. And you know as well as I do, it's the last of our worries, unless we got idiots like this spraying cannabis or deliberately sabotaging something. It's the three-headed monster in Godzilla, a Triopolica, or whatever they called it. I'm not sure. I'll ask my mod in chat. She knows all these sci-fi movies. Debbie, do you know what that monster was that Godzilla had to fight? It had three heads, like a dragon. She probably don't even listen to me. She turns the volume off and just watches the pictures. Nah, well, like I said, I got nothing against cannabis smokers. Not one bit. Some of the greatest people I knew were cannabis smokers and still are to this day. But dang it, we don't know if these people are deliberately doing it or just idiots or disgruntled people. We're not sure. There's my mod. Hydra, and that would come from hydroponics, cannabis. Godzilla had a hand in the cannabis growing business with hydroponics. Interesting. Thank you, my great mod, Debbie Fox. I can tell you what, your new brain chip download has really improved you. I was thinking all day, what was that three-headed monster? Hydra. She's good. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm a tea tweed drinker myself. It's a lot better than the pills. We just don't know what we're getting in pills anymore. It's just, there's been such a mix-up. And that's really what I thought happened with Mr. Hackman and his wife, was possibly fentanyl. And they wouldn't have even known it. Right there, these people are shipping the shit through the mail in pills that already formed, and it gets mixed up with something else. And most people don't know. They just take it. And it might not affect them, but once it starts building up in their systems, if they're taking medication every day, once it builds up in their system, then it kills them. That's what fentanyl will do. I don't know. I'm petrified. I'm literally petrified right now. Scared to death for our grandchildren's grandchildren and their grandchildren. This is just, they always got to wreck it. Why didn't they go professional? Why didn't they do what that cannabis store did in California? Right? They actually had lab. You can go in the place and actually see these people testing the cannabis under microscopes and testing it and doing all kinds of stuff and professionally, right? And then you go in and you talk to a doctor. Oh, well, you need this. Let's try this strain, this kind of cannabis, and let's start with this. I mean, I watched that. It was like a 2-hour video of them. It was professional, everything tested. You actually talk to someone that knows, but I can't sleep. What do you need? Oh, well, here, you need some of this skunk bug, right? The end of your day, you get home from work, you get done eating, you're going to sit around, watch some TV, smoke one of these skunk bud tweed sticks or whatever they call it. You'll be out like a light. Boom. Right? It works. It works, and it is safer than pills. But they're probably going to kill me for saying that, big pharma. Although they do make product that saves people's lives. That same product, after taking it over time, will kill you or do massive damage. We're in a rock and a hard spot. I don't hate big pharma because they create stuff that actually saves people's lives. But now they become the holder of life because now their product is too much. People can't afford it. What happens? Well, they pass away. Sure, I'm petrified. I'm just like the rest of you people, but I have a disability. So I go off easy. I go off easy. I got problems. But you know what? I overcame them problems. I some days are bad. A lot of days are bad. Now in my older age. Uh, and all I can say is we got a lot worse things to worry about than cannabis. I would legalize it, but come to the table and only legalize it federally if these states are going to uphold the federal laws of testing, distribution, and it's got to be watched. It's just like anything else. Uh, it's just like anything else, folks. It's just like a gas station. It's just like a grocery store. It's just all a racket. And if you can't trust the racket that you're buying your product from, or your food or anything, and it comes up their product is contaminated or whatever, it's hard to trust business. And then they want laws to pass where they can't lose their or they can't lose their business, but they don't want to pay anything. They're not liable for anything, right? What does that tell you? I don't know. If I was a cartel leader, a drug dealer, or even a user, right? I'm not going to buy your product because it'll kill me. I don't know. I'm just using it on their terms. No, I don't sell drugs. I don't do any of that crap. But it's just like anything else, right? And what's scary about this fentanyl is you just don't know when it's going to hit. You don't have to be around it. You don't even have to digest it. You just touch it, smell it. It just, even a particle gets on you. For some of these people, it's a death sentence because not everybody has the same tolerance as the next person. If you've gone through life with never experiencing drugs and you get hit with some fentanyl, it'll kill you, probably. I imagine these people are right. It probably to a dope head on the street that's around it every day and built up a tolerance. Eventually, they're going to die. It's going to kill them, overdose, and built up in their systems. But they're immune to it more. Their tolerance is higher. I don't know. We're living in some crazy times, man. It is a country of freedoms. We have the right to smoke cannabis. I don't know why these people hate the government so much. I'm like, just bring them in. Let them tell it. Well, at least our kids, if they're going to experiment with this crap, they're not going to be buying it on the street. And we know that if the government is involved, just like with the vaccines and everything else, that it'll be safer than somebody that is not testing it and selling it, and who knows what's in it. Anywhere from PCP to it being just spice, that'll kill you quick too. Spice is sprayed with stuff. It's actually catnip or whatever. And you might as well open up a bag of catnip and smoke that. Which that's dangerous. And I wouldn't do that. I'm just being an idiot. Yeah, we got problems. We got problems. I wish everything was 100% guaranteed, but there ain't nothing. And I mean, there ain't nothing 100% guaranteed. Not unless it come from Jesus and God. Then it's 100%. But us humans, we get lucky. You can drink carnip or catnip. What? You can drink carnip tea and grow. Oh, catnip. You can grow catnip? Oh, you put down, you could. Something like drink carnip. Cat and fennel cured my son colic. Oh, you gave your kid catnip and fennel, and it cured his colic. What is colic? Excuse me. Like, once again, I want to tell these cannabis stores. I'm not going to lie. I've been to these cannabis stores, checking them out. I'm not going to lie. Right? You don't even really have to buy anything. Just walk around there for 5 minutes and you will get a contact high just smelling the bud. And they do have some cool stuff in there, like t-shirts and stuff. But, the state 5 minutes away, it's legal. And so far it's going pretty good. Some of these places have their own security, right? Uh, and they 100% guarantee it's all tested. It's all been tested and it's professional. Right? I went to one place up in Michigan, and there was a little room off to the side, and I went in there because I was up in where was I? Up in Michigan, and they got a bunch of antique stores and thrift stores and a hippie store in that town. I forget the name of it. It's probably about 45 minutes away. I had nothing to do one day, and I was going to go uh, check out this hippie store. They sold a whole bunch of concert T-shirts there and stuff. And there was a couple real cool antique stores in that town. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. And I went up there. I didn't even know there was a place there. And after I was done shopping for T-shirts, I walked past the place, and it was a recreational green tree. Right, it was called Green Tree, I think it was. It was a cannabis store up there in Michigan. And I was like, you know what the heck? I'm going to go in there and see what it's all about, right? There's a police car parked in the side and everything. So I went in there, and right off the bat, you got to give them identification, and you got to sign this piece of paper, right? So I'm like, all right, am I breaking any laws? And they're like, oh no. I'm like, all right. So I went in there, and there was a room off to the side, and there was actually people in these lab coats, and they had gloves on, and they had microscopes. I'm like, what's all that? They're like, oh, that's the lab. We test, and when it comes in, we test it before it goes out on our shelves and everything. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. They're like, nope. And I was like, well, that's cool, man. Right? It was real professional and everything. I was like, wow. So I went in there and checked it out. And like I said, it was a professional thing. There was a police car parked out in front of the place. They had a whole bunch of cameras in there, and they had their own little lab set up. It was unreal. You could see the people, walking around behind the glass and everything, and it was all done professionally. You came in one way. Um, and you just went down the line, and you at the end of the line you check out, and you're on your way. It was that fast. But like I said, it was a legitimate place. Let me see what Miss Debbie said. You can drink catnip. Babies are born with it. Oh, colic. Yeah. Okay, Deb. I know what you're talking about. You guys remember this? You guys remember this movie? I want to check this out here real quick. I remember this movie when I was younger. Hold on a minute. Let's check this out. Debbie, you ever see that movie? Look at the teeth on the woman. She gets possessed by this voodoo doll, and it's got its sword and it's got a knife, and it's crazy. It comes to life. Trilogy of Terror. Oh yeah. All right, well, what do we do? I don't know. We got to look out for our fellow brothers, but when there's so much money involved, they're probably going to kill us all. If it ain't the cannabis stores, it's the government. If it ain't the government, the religion's trying to kill. If it ain't everybody, it's just, Lord, I can tell you right now, Jesus, we can use you big time. We can use you. I can tell you what's more addicting than cannabis, and that's cigarettes. And I'm already flipping out because I seen top 10 foods that Bobby Kennedy said we should say goodbye to. And one of them was potato chips. And right there is, it's over with. There is nothing more left for. If there's no potato chips, I don't know what we're going to do. Here, have this dried piece of squash. Okay. All right, folks. You folks have a good night. We got some snow, man. Maybe a half inch out there. Kind of chilly, and that's good. And now what do we do? Well, now we got to purge these people's body of this poison. Whoever's idea it was to spray cannabis. I'm telling you, it explains now possibly why these people are flipping out. It's not the cannabis, it's the crap they're spraying on it. Can we agree on that, Miss Debbie Fox? I know it's not the cannabis. It's whatever these people are spraying on it. All right, you folks have a great night. What time is it? I'm going to have a cup of tea and relax. And now we got to figure out a way to clean our body or these people's body of the poison. Probably lemon juice or something, or a concoction of lemon juice and who knows. I don't know. This is just too wild for me, all this stuff all at once with all this crap going on. And then someone didn't send me the proper paperwork. And instead of going around these walls, we went through them. Trump's pissed about that. Well, I didn't, when communication breaks down, we got problems. We weren't supposed to mess with the tariffs, but we shot a tariff, but we didn't shoot the deputy. It was a tariff that might have damaged America, so we shot it down. But we didn't get the proper paperwork, Mr. Trump. We didn't know we were supposed to save the tariff. At that time, we were going on your orders to shoot the tariff, but don't shoot the deputy, and we didn't, sir. Now, you folks have, let me see, no supposed to spray anything. I know. That's what I'm trying to say, Debbie. You know what we might have to do? We might have to have the growers open their own stores So we know that these people that are sanctioned and they're having their product tested by the federal government being sold at their own stores where we can trust that these citizens are getting proper cannabis and stuff that's not poison. I'm just trying to help. I'm not trying to take your cannabis away. We've all done it. Like I said, I think cannabis is more helpful than what else we got going on. Plus, some of these people need it because it does work for them, and they can't afford their cancer medication anymore. So they got to have something to at least sleep, kill the pain, take their mind off of the madness. I don't know. I'm not God, so I don't have all the answers. Only God has all the answers. I don't. I can give opinions, and them are wrong. You folks have a good night. God bless. All glory goes to God. Once again, I have nothing against cannabis stores, so don't try and kill me. Weird. Cucamonga crackers, killers, or whatever. Government, I'm only trying to help you make some money and do things properly. If you're so concerned about the American people, then at least give us cannabis that is safe cannabis. So we can sleep at night, because we have to live in a world of madness, or at least a country, well, and our world. You folks have a good night.